what finally drove us to start being no contact with my parents was actually their interactions with our kids. We allowed my parents to stay in contact with our kids, and even made an appointment to take the kids to visit them, although I couldn't handle that because of my own CPTSD issues, and my parents just were triggering me all the time. But we did allow them to stay in contact with our kids because we didn't want to cut our kids off from their grandparents or the other way around. But what we noticed over a few months after we had left the church and as we were permitting this contact to continue was that my parents and my brother were continuing to use their relationship with our kids to obtain information about Brian and I. They would have conversations over messenger kids or over the phone with our kids and spend more time asking our kids about what Brian and I were doing and what our family's plans were and things like that, and hardly any time actually talking to the kids themselves. And then my mom, she had been using me as an emotional dumping ground for years. I actually functioned as her therapist in many ways, and she would tell me all the horrible, difficult things she was dealing with in her marriage and the challenges she had with my siblings and all of these things. And I'd come to recognize that that's what it was. I was actually functioning as her therapist. And so I cut that off, but she was starting to do similar things with my kids, with two of my girls, and she was using manipulative language with them. She was putting them on guilt trips for not being able to see them as often as she would like, and trying to persuade them to tell us that they should come hang out with us again. And they were basically using their relationship with our kids to try to find power over us. And my daughters, who are the oldest of the six. I have three daughters, and they're the oldest of our six kids. And my daughters, the oldest, wouldn't even stay in touch with Grandma and Grandpa anymore. She could just see through it and was done with it. And the other two tried to stay in contact, but they started to see that my mom and my dad were being manipulative in their relationship with our kids. And so we directly told them, you cannot treat our kids like adults, and you cannot use your relationship with them to get what you want. That is not okay. We were very direct with them, and they continued to do it. And so when we saw that they were, and our kids could tell, like they weren't even, it was obvious to our girls. And so finally, we set the boundary and said, do not contact us anymore. And even that they couldn't respect. Contact continued after that. But that's why we finally had to set it, because they weren't treating our kids like kids, they were treating them like adults.